Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Of Dice and Third Baseman and another edition of our 1919 National League Game of the Week. Today is Saturday, the 21st of June of 1919, and today we're headed out to the eastern fringes of Pittsburgh, to Forbes Field, where we'll take in a matchup between the visiting Boston Braves and the homestanding Pittsburgh Pirates. The Braves are 20-25. They currently sit in 6th place, 7 games out of the lead. They're only 6-12 on the road thus far this season. And the Pirates are 26-23. They're in 5th place, but only 3 games out of 1st place. Here are the lineups for today's game. The Braves will start off with Johnny Rawlings at short, Buck Herzog at second, and Ray Powell in right. Walton Cruz will play left and bat cleanup. Interestingly, Cruz, so far this season, has about 90 plate appearances and has only a single run batted in, which came on a solo home run. So I shudder to think what his numbers look like with runners in scoring position. Nevertheless, he's in the cleanup spot today. At first base is Walter Holke. Center fielder is Joe Riggert. At third base is Tony Beckel, who just arrived in Pittsburgh via a trade before the start of this series. Walt Trageser is behind the plate, and on the mound is the 25-year-old right-hander Ray Keating. For the Pirates, leading off in center field is Carson Bigby. Zeb Terry bats second and plays short. Casey Stengel is in right field. George Cutshaw is at second. Billy Southworth in left field. Walter Barbari is at third base. Vic Sire at first. Walter Schmidt is the catcher. Yes, there are quite a few Walters in the lineups today. And pitching for the Pirates is the 36-year-old right-hander Babe Adams. Babe was really one of the underappreciated pitchers of the first 2 decades of the 20th century. And I'll have a lot more to say about him later, as he'll be the feature for our Deadball portrait during the 7th inning stretch. But suffice it to say that, at least as far as this replay season goes, he's been among, if not the best pitcher in the National League so far. He's second in the league in earned run average, he's first in WHIP, and he's second in wins. So the Braves will have a tough task ahead of them this afternoon here at Forbes Field. The Braves lead the league in strikeouts as a hitting attack, and you'll notice some crazy strikeout ranges on their cards for the era. Pittsburgh has been pretty good in all phases of the game. They're second in the league in OPS and first in drawing walks. And on the pitching side, they're third in the league in ERA and first in allowing the fewest walks. So it looks like the warm-ups and all the pregame festivities here at Forbes Field are over. Let's head down to the field and get today's game started. The Braves visit the Pirates. And leading off for Boston will be the shortstop Johnny Rawlings. Adams kicks and deals. 509, that's going to be a rare play right off the bat. 136. And Rawlings is hit by the pitch. So I don't know if Babe is sending a message right from the get-go, but the Braves have a runner on and nobody out. And that'll bring up Herzog. So the 4 auto manager die plus his bunt 6 is a 10. So Herzog will sacrifice. So that's 7 and 10 plus his bunt rating of 6 is a 16. That's a bunted to the first baseman, possible fielder's choice. First baseman is arm 0 and Rawlings is a speed 4 at first. So Sire will take the automatic out at first, and Herzog succeeds in moving Rollins down to second with one away. Runs are going to likely to be hard to come by against Babe today, so the Braves will play some small ball here, and that brings up Ray Powell. 279 against a lefty. And it looked like he got good wood on that, but he lines it right at the right fielder, and Casey Stengel puts it away for the second out. And the aforementioned Walton Cruz at the plate. He's got a chance here to knock in a run. 578, and he lifts that one out to left field. That's Southworth and left. And that will be an RBI single to left field. So the old broadcast jinx is in effect. The minute you say something hasn't happened, it happens at the first opportunity. So Cruz gets his second RBI of the year, the first not on via a home run. And the Braves take a quick 1-0 lead. And Walter Holke will step in with 2 outs and Cruz on first. 227 against a switch, and that's popped in the air down the left field line. Barbari at third takes a few steps back onto the outfield grass and makes the catch to retire the side. But Boston gets a run off Adams in the first, and that'll bring up the Pirates in the bottom half of the inning. And leading it off will be the center fielder Carson Bigby, who's off to a torrid start, batting .358 with 15 steals in the first 44 games of the season. The pitch from Keating, that's a 5.42. That's bounced down to Herzog at second. And he will field it cleanly and throw to first for the out. So one away for Pittsburgh. And Zeb Terry steps in. Terry only hitting .233, but he's been pretty hot of late. I think he's got an 11-game hitting streak at the moment. 411 against a righty, and that's a hit sharply, but on the ground right at Rawlings. He'll throw to first for the second out. And Casey Stengel steps in. So far, 262 on the season. 212, that's a 412, and Casey draws the walk with 2 outs. Yes. Nothing doing at first, and that'll bring up the cleanup hitter George Cutshaw, hitting .220. 460 against a righty, and George bounces that one to short. Rawlings will take the easy route and flip it to Herzog at second for the force that retires the side. And Pittsburgh leaves one in the first. Top of the second, and Riggert will leave it off for Boston. 317, swing and a miss. As we mentioned, keep an eye on the Braves. They like to swing. Pitch to Beckel. 347. That is popped in the air towards the first baseman. Vic Sire pounds the glove and puts it away for the second out. And that'll bring up the catcher, Walt Trageser. 561. That's hit on the ground to Terry at short. He'll field it and flip it over to first for the out. And Boston goes in order in the second. That'll bring up the Pirate left fielder, Billy Southworth. He's hitting .307 on the young season. 260 against a lefty. That's a 540, and that's going to be a routine ground out to second base. No problem for Buck Herzog. And Walter Barbari will come up. He's been a part-time player. He's at third today because Tony Beckel was traded to the other dugout and is now in the lineup for the Braves. The pitch is a 321, and Walter taps that one back to the mound. Keating will take it on the second hop and toss it over to first for the out. And the first baseman, Vic Sire, at the plate. He's off to a good start. hitting 299. 208, that's a 408, and Sire draws the walk. And with 2 away, one of the many Walters in the game today, Walter Schmidt, the Pirates catcher, he's hitting 284 in the early going. That's a 438 against a righty, and that's again tapped back to the mound. No problem for Keating. He'll underhand it to first, and the Pirates are retired, and they'll leave a man in the second. We go to the top of the third, 1-0 for the visiting Braves, and Keating will lead it off. It's a 5-19, and he bounces that one up the middle and past Adams and into center field. So for all the positive things you can say about Babe Adams, he wasn't much of a fielder, at least at this point in his career at age 36. So Keating gets a base hit, and the pitcher leads off and gets on for Boston. And I'll bring up Rawlings. Bunt 6 and a 4 is 10, so Rawlings will also lay it down as the Braves play small ball here. So we got 13, and his bunt 6 is 19. And that'll be a nice bunt down to third base. Barbari fields it, throws on over to first to get the out. But Keating moves to second. So one away, a runner at second, and Buck Herzog at the plate. 242 in the early going for Boston. 284 against a righty, and Buck hits that pretty well. Out to left. That's 7 and a power 0. So it's 7 to left. And that's a line drive, base hit into left field. Keating will come around third, and he'll score the second Boston run. So an RBI for Buck Herzog, his 16th of the year. And somewhat surprisingly, Boston scored 2 runs off Babe Adams. And we're only in the third inning. That'll bring up Powell. He flied to right his first time up. 430 against a righty, and he skies that one to center. And Walton Cruz with the single and the RBI his first time up. That's a 132, and that's a little tapper in front of the plate. Walter Schmidt leaps out, fields it with a bare hand, and throws to first to retire Cruz and retire the Braves in the top of the third. But they score again, and they'll take a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the third. And Adams will lead it off. 482, Adams is I4, and he skies that one in the air to left field. Cruz will sidle over and make the catch for the first out. And Big B will stand in. He grounded to second his first time. 134. And this time Big B pops it up on the infield, just to the shortstop side of second base, and Rawlings is there to make the catch for out number 2. And Zeb Terry will stand in. He grounded to short his first time. 541. That's hit on the ground again to Herzog. He is a range 4, so he'll make the play at first. 4-3 if you're scoring along with us at home. And that'll do it for the Pirates in the third. And Walter Holke will lead it off for the Braves in the fourth. Walter popped to third base his first time up. 297. And Walter gets a hold of that one, hits it hard out to right field. That's 10 and power 0. So 10 to right, and that's a base hit to right field for Holke. That's the 4th hit in the game for Boston. Adams is only allowing a little bit under 7 hits per 9 innings so far this season, and that'll bring up Riggert. I didn't look at the auto manager die. Nope. So Holke's not running. Riggert will swing away. That's a 128. That's a 328, and Riggert is caught looking. Strikes out for the 2nd time in 2 at-bats. This time the auto manager die is a 1 and Holke's steal is a 7, so he'll try for the jump. His steal is 7 and Adams' hold is 6, so he'll need 9 to go, and he gets it. His speed is a 2 and Schmidt's arm is a 6, so he needs 14 to steal second. And he gets 17. So the stolen base for Walter Holke. That's his 7th on the year. And that'll give Beckel a chance with 1 out and a runner in scoring position. 164, but Adams gets it in on his fists and Beckel pops it up in the infield. Terry is there and he'll make the grab for the 2nd out. And that leaves it up to the catcher, Walt Trageser. Walt's only hitting 174 so far this season in pretty limited duty. 606. And Walt will also hit one up the stovepipe on the infield. This time it's on the right side of the infield. And Cutshaw is there, and he makes the catch that retires the side. So the Braves get a man on and steal a base, but they leave him stranded. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Boston 1, Pittsburgh 0, and Casey Stengel will lead it off. He walked his first time up. 557. That's hit on the ground to Beckel at 3rd, and just out of his reach for a single into left. So Casey gets his first hit of the afternoon. Nothing doing on the auto manager. Cutshaw will swing away. 540. And they're going to wish they put the play on there. That's hit hard at Buck Herzog at 2nd. He flips to Rawlings at short and over to first for the 4-6-3 double play. That erases Stengel and puts 2 outs on the board for Pittsburgh here at the bottom of the 4th. And it's up to Billy Southworth. 351. Another pop-up in the infield. This one's drifting over towards the left field stands, but Beckel has room. And he makes the catch, and down go the Pirates. We go to the top of the 5th. Keating to lead it off. Boston holding a 2-run lead. 492. Keating is I2. And he'll sky that one to shallow right field. Stengel trots in, puts it away for out number 1. And the shortstop Rawlings at the plate for Boston. He's been hit by a pitch and scored and had a sacrifice hit. 302, and he's not going to do any of that this time. A swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout of the day for the Babe. And there's 2 away for Boston, and Buck Herzog at the plate. He also has a single and a sacrifice. 243 against a righty. That's dribbled out in front of the mound. Schmidt again comes out to get it, and he has plenty of time to throw down to first and retire Herzog. And the Braves in the top of the 5th, and we're halfway through here at Forbes Field. Boston 2 and Pittsburgh nothing. The Pirates have just 1 hit in 4 innings against Ray Keating. And Walter Barbari will lead it off to try to change something for the home team. So that's a 596. So that's hit out to Powell in right field. And it's beyond the reach of his outstretched glove, and it'll hop off the wall for a double. So 2nd hit of the game for the Pirates and their first extra base hit. And they're in business here with a runner in scoring position and nobody out. Sire walked in the second inning. 221 against a lefty. That's a 421 against a right-handed pitcher, and that's hit hard on the ground to second. Herzog will throw Sire out at first, but Barbari goes on to third with one out. And that'll give Schmidt a chance to bring in the Pirates' first run of the game. There's one out. The infield will play back. 670 at home. That'll be a 680. And that's laced into left field for a base hit. That's a run for Pittsburgh and an RBI for Walter Schmidt. And we've got a 2-1 game here at Forbes Field. And Adams will come to the plate with a runner at first and one out. Adams not a great hitter and not a great bunter, but he's going to try to lay it down anyways. So we've got 10 and 3 is 13. And he fouls that off. The signs get flashed. They're going to keep the bunt on. That's 18, 19, and 3 is 22. And that's a beautiful bunt down the left field line. Fielded by Tony Beckel, but his only play is at first. And Adams does his job and moves Schmidt into scoring position with 2 away and Carson Bigby at the plate. Carson is 0 for 2. He's grounded to second and popped to short. 352. And Carson beats that one into the ground to get past the pitcher's mound, rolls out to second. Herzog charges, and he'll have no play. That's an infield hit for Bigby, his first hit of the game, and it'll put runners at the corners with 2 outs. And a big chance here for Zeb Terry, who's grounded to short and grounded to second in his 2 trips today. That's a 690, and at home, that's going to be a 700. And Terry laces that one over the head of center fielder Joe Riggert into the left center field gap. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. Schmidt scores, Bigby scores, and Terry beats the throw into third with a 2-run triple that gives the Pirates the lead. Second triple of the year for Terry. And it's 3-2 Pittsburgh. And another run only 90 feet away. And Casey Stengel at the plate, who has walked and singled so far. 597. That's hit hard again and again beyond the reach of Powell. And down the line. And that's a double for Stengel. And the 4th Pittsburgh run scores. On their 3rd extra base hit of the inning and 5th hit overall in the 5th inning. And Keating, who had been well nigh unhittable for the first 4 innings, has suddenly seen it all go pear-shaped here in the bottom of the 5th. So that'll bring up Cutshaw with yet another runner in scoring position. George is hit into a fielder's choice and grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. 242 against a righty. And this time he can only hit it back to Keating on the mound, who will get the out at first and finally retire the Pirates in the bottom of the 5th. But a big inning for the homestanding Pittsburghers as they score 4 times to take a 4-2 lead and give Babe Adams a cushion as he heads into the top of the 6th. Ray Powell, the right fielder, will lead off. He is 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts. 657. And that's a tapper back to the mound. Adams has it. And he'll underhand to first for the first out of the inning. And Walton Cruz will step in. He's singled to knock in a run and grounded out to the catcher. 648. That's hit on the ground to shortstop. Terry up with it. On to first for out number 2. And Walter Holke, the first baseman, will stand in. He's popped to third and singled and stole a base. 660. Giving Forbes Field a workout here today. That's another tapper back to the mound. No problem for Adams. And Boston goes very quietly in the top of the 6th after giving up the lead in the previous half inning. So we'll see if Keating can hold the score here. He'll face Southworth, Barbari, and Sire in the bottom of the 6th. 392, and Billy stings that one through the infield and into left field for a base hit. His first hit of the game. Now with the Pirates in the lead, he's a speed 3 and Traeger behind the plate is an arm 4. So he will try for the jump. He's a steal 7 against a hold 3, so he needs a 6 or better. He is going. And he's a speed 3 against an arm 4, so he needs an 11 to steal. But he doesn't get it. Southworth is gunned down trying to steal second for the first Pittsburgh out. That's only Southworth's 4th caught stealing of the season against 12 steals. So Walter still at the plate. This time there's one out and nobody on base. A 480 against a righty, and he grounds a single into left field. 8th Pittsburgh hit, and suddenly Keating is just not fooling anybody. Pitch to Sire. That's a 5-13. Keating will field that one on the mound and throw to first for the second out. But the Pirates' third baseman moves up to second. And Walter Schmidt will come up with a runner in scoring position. 139. And he hits that hard, but on a line right at the third baseman. And Beckel makes the catch for the out that retires the side. So the Pirates get 2 hits but don't score. We go to the top of the 7th, 4-2 Pittsburgh. And Boston will send the number 6 hitter, Joe Rigger, the center fielder, up to hit. He is struck out swinging and struck out looking. 239 against a righty. This time he does make contact, but barely. It's off the end of the bat. And out in front of the mound, down the first base line, Schmidt, who's been busy behind the plate today, comes out and fields it, and he'll throw Rigard out at first. And there's one away for Boston. And Tony Beckel will come in. Beckel only 2 for 12 since joining the Braves a few games ago. He looks at the delivery from Adams. That's a 5-28. And that's ball 4. So first free pass issued today by Adams, who walked only 23 batters in 263 real-life innings. In the replay, he's allowed pretty much on pace, 6 walks in about 100 innings. And that'll bring up Traeger with a runner at first. And 1 out. 311, swing and a miss. And there's one of those strikeout ranges I was talking about. 300 to 376. 4th strikeout for Adams. And Keating will come to the plate. Adams has to be a little bit careful here. Keating is power 7, so if he gets a hold on one, it could be trouble. 276. The right-handed batter, that's a 5.56. So that's hit down to Barbari at third. And he won't be able to get it, and it goes into left field for a base hit, and Beckel will stop at second. So Keating's second hit of the day. He was 0 for 8 this season coming into the game. Now he's 2 for 10. And the Braves have 2 on and 2 out for the top of the order. And Rawlings, who has been hit by a pitch and scored, had a sacrifice hit and struck out. 665 at Forbes Field. And Adams uncorks a wild one, a 56-foot breaking ball, and it gets past Schmidt and goes back to the backstop for a wild pitch. So the runners move up, and now the Braves have the tying runs in scoring position with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. And Rawlings digs in. That's a 120, which will be a 320, and Rawlings hits it in the air, but looks like no trouble for Casey Stengel. He takes a few steps to his right, and he makes the catch that retires the side. And Boston wastes a golden opportunity to get back into the ball game. They fail to score in the top of the 7th. Adams will be vulnerable to fatigue in the 8th. And we head to the bottom of the 7th with the score Pittsburgh 4 and Boston 2. And we'll be back at Forbes Field after this. In this week's Deadball portrait, we're going to meet Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Babe Adams. Babe Adams, one of the greatest control pitchers of all time, was also one of the greatest pitchers of any kind during the first 2 decades of the 20th century. His borderline Hall of Fame career, he had more career wins above replacement than Sandy Koufax, Bob Lemon, or Dizzy Dean, has been largely forgotten other than one incandescent week as a rookie, but he was among the game's best for almost all of a 19-year career in which he won nearly 200 games. Charles Benjamin Adams was born into a farming family in Indiana in 1882. A childhood accident badly injured the little finger of his left hand, forcing Adams, a natural lefty, to learn to throw right-handed by chucking rocks at trees and squirrels, and he began to play high school baseball after moving to Missouri, and then pitched for the town club. During this period, he was taught a curveball by an opposing infielder, and his growing proficiency with the twists and whirlers led to his recommendation by a local scout and umpire to the Class C Missouri Valley League team in Parsons, Kansas for the 1905 season. He got his first pro campaign off to a flying start, pitching a 1-hit shutout in his first appearance, and that was just the beginning as he racked up a 21-9 record in 275 innings. The Cardinals of the National League caught wind of this, and they purchased his contract for the following season. Adams made his big league debut on the 18th of April, 1906, but he pitched only 1 game, allowing 8 runs in 4 innings to the famous '06 Cubs, before being sent down to Class AA and then being released to Denver of the Class A Western League. He pitched in 59 games for Denver over the next 2 seasons, leading the league with 24 victories in 1907. The Pirates bought his contract late in that year, and he pitched in 4 games at the tail end of the season, but was again ineffective, allowing 40 hits in 23 innings, getting him loaned out to Louisville, the Class A American Association, for 1908. He again tore up minor league hitting, winning 22 games and displaying the pinpoint command that would become his hallmark, as he walked only 40 men in over 300 innings of work. He finally made good in the bigs in 1909, pitching in a swing role that saw him start 12 games and finish 11 in relief. He was almost untouchable, winning 12 games with a 1.11 ERA and allowing just 88 hits in 130 innings. He still flew under the radar, though, because he was on a pitching staff that included a rotation full of established stars. Sam Lever, Deacon Philippe, Vic Willis, etc. So when manager Fred Clark decided to put Adams on the hill for Game 1 of the World Series against the Tigers, it was a shocking decision. What came next, though, was the stuff of legends, as Babe won Games 1, 5, and 7 with a 1.13 ERA. His 3 series wins as a rookie has not been matched since. Adams was now an established ace, and he won 99 games for the Pirates over the next 6 seasons, including a pair of 21 campaigns, and a famous 21-inning complete game loss to Rube Marquardt in 1914, in which he walked no one. In 1916, though, he developed shoulder problems. He started the season 2-9 with a 5.72 ERA, and when he was released in August to Class A ball at the age of 34 and declined to report, it looked like his career was possibly over. But he got over the injury problems over the winter and was back to his usual tricks at St. Joseph of the Western League in 1917, winning 20 games with a sub-2 ERA over 300 innings. In 1918, he pitched for Kansas City of the Class AA American Association, and he got off to a 14-3 start before Pittsburgh reacquired him. Babe's age, although perhaps now problematic from a baseball standpoint, actually worked in his favor here, because he was exempt from the draft for World War I service, and thus was attractive to clubs dealing with absences of key players due to the war. Adams made 3 starts down the stretch for the Pirates, and he looked every bit of his old self. The following year, he was again one of the best pitchers in the National League. At age 37, he won 17 games for a .500 club, while finishing 5th in the league in ERA, 1st in WHIP, and walking less than a batter per 9 innings. The following season, he led the league in shutouts and issued the fewest walks in a season, 18, ever for a pitcher that pitched more than 250 innings. This late career renaissance continued through 1923, when he won 14 games at the age of 41, but Father Time was in fact beginning to catch up with him as his ERA ballooned to 4.42. He became mostly a reliever through the 1926 season and threw a scoreless inning in the 1925 World Series, but he was now a below-average pitcher, and he was waived by the Pirates in August of 1926, and he pitched one more year of minor league ball, going 6-1 with a sub-2 ERA in Class C, before calling it quits and returning to the farm in Missouri. He spent some time as a local sports reporter before moving to Maryland late in his life to live with a daughter, where he passed away at the age of 86. After his death, a marble monument was erected in his honor in the town square of Mount Moriah, Missouri, and a section of U.S. Route 136 near his hometown was renamed after him in 2002. Babe Adams was one of the outstanding pitchers of the Deadball era and perhaps baseball's greatest ever control artist. To put his numbers into perspective, Greg Maddux would have had to have thrown 217 additional complete games without allowing a single base on balls to match Adams' career mark of 1.28 walks per 9 innings, a mark that's second all time to only his staff mate Deacon Philippe at 1.25. Quite possibly the greatest hurler in Pirate history, he still holds the franchise record for career shutouts and is second in Pirate history in wins and third in innings pitched. As always, let us know in the comments below if there are particular players from the 1919 National League that you'd like to see be featured in a future Deadball portrait. Okay, back at the ballpark. We're at the bottom of the 7th. Pittsburgh holding a 2-run lead here late in the game at Forbes Field, and they will send up the pitcher Babe Adams to lead it off. 6:28 at home. That'll be a 6:38, and Babe makes contact, but he hits it on the ground to third base. Beckel will scoop it up and throw the slow-moving Adams out at first for the first out of the inning. And the Pirates go to the top of the menu and Carson Bigby. Carson is 1 for 3 with a run scored. That's a .363. And Bigby hits a ground ball. Again past the mound and out to second base. And again there'll be no play for Herzog. Bigby's second infield hit of the game, both in the direction of second baseman Buck Herzog. And the Pirates have a man at first and 1 out. And the auto manager die says Bigby will try for the lead. He's a steal 8 against a hold 3, so we need 5. And he gets it, so he's going. Speed 3 against arm 4 for Trageser, so he needs 11 to steal. And he's in there. So, stolen base for Carson Bigby. That's his 16th of the year. And Terry will stand in with a runner at second and 1 out. 235 against a righty. And that's hit slowly on the ground to third base. Beckel will come in a couple of steps, field it, and throw it to first to retire Terry. But Bigby moves up 90 feet to third base. And that'll give Stengel a chance with 2 outs. Casey is singled, doubled, and walked. 178. And this time it's going to be Keating who uncorks a wild one. And turns out Stengel didn't have to do any work at all. The run scores, and Pittsburgh has a 5-2 lead. And that makes Keating vulnerable to fatigue on the 5th run. Still Stengel. So Casey now with 2 outs and the bases empty. 594. And that's hit out to Powell and right. And this time he'll be able to reach it, and he'll make the catch for the out that retires the side. Now the Pirates tack on 1 in the bottom of the 7th, and they lead 5-2 as we go to the 8th. And Buck Herzog will leave it off for the Braves. Buck is 1 for 2 with a sacrifice. 595, that's hit out to Stengel and right. Casey's a fine defensive outfielder. He'll make that catch on the trot in right field, and there's 1 away. Here's Ray Powell. He is 0 for 3 with 2 flyouts and a ground out. 475 against a righty, and he'll sky this one again, this time to left field. Southworth barely has to move. He pounds the glove and makes the catch for the 2nd out. And Walton Cruz steps in with 2 away. He's singled to knock in a run, and he's grounded out twice. 398. And Cruz gets a hold of that one. It's up in the air to right field. Stengel goes back. He's at the fence, and he won't be able to get it. It's a home run for Walton Cruz, his 2nd of the season. And it cuts the Pittsburgh lead to 5-3. So we poked a little fun at Walton during the pregame show about him batting cleanup, and there you go. He's knocked in 2 of the 3 Boston runs. And that'll bring up Walter Holke, 185. And Holke gets under that one, and he skies it towards third base. Barbari's standing on the bag. Now he takes a step into foul ground, and he makes the catch that retires the side. And that's it for Boston in the 8th. But they do get a run back. And we will head into the bottom of the 8th with the score Pittsburgh 5, Boston 3, and that's home run. Costs Adams a fatigue point. And George Cutshaw will lead it off for Pittsburgh. He's hit into a fielder's choice, hit into a 4-6-3 double play, and tapped back to the pitcher. The pitch from Keating is a 4-12, and he taps it back to the mound again. Routine for the Braves. Pitcher over to first, 1 away. And Billy Southworth will stand in. He is 1 for 3 on the afternoon. 324. And that's a high bounding ball to second base. Herzog has it. He throws to first, and Southworth beats it by a hair. Another infield hit for the Pirates. And Southworth will be at first with 1 away. So with the Pittsburgh with the lead, his speed 3 and the catcher's arm 4 means we'll try for the jump. He's a steal 7 against a hold 3, so he needs a 6. He is going. And speed 3 against an arm 4. He needs an 11 to steal second. He's in there, and Traeger is fielding 6, and we've got a 7 and a 9. So the throw sails into center field for an error on the catcher. Southworth all the way around to third. And Barbari will have a chance with one out and a runner only 90 feet away. The infield will come in, and Southworth's a speed 3. He'll go on contact. Pitch is a 4.04 against a righty. That's a strikeout. Big pitch by Keating. Gets the platoon strikeout. And now there's 2 outs, and Sire will have a chance with the man on third, but only 1 out left. Sire's 0 for 2 with a walk. Keating delivers, 5.49. That's a ground ball out to second base. Herzog to his right, and it kicks off his glove and into center field for an error. And Southworth will trot home with another insurance run for the Pirates. And Sire reaches base on the error, the second of the game for Boston. So it's a 6-3 game. Runner at first, 2 away for Schmidt, who was 1 for 3 with a single and a run batted in. 492 against a righty, and Schmidt's going to hit a can of corn to center field. Joe Riggert trots over into the right center field gap, and he'll make the catch to retire the side, but not before Pittsburgh adds on another run to take a 6-3 lead into the top of the ninth. And Adams looking to go the distance. He's completed 8 of his previous 10 starts. And he will face the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Boston. First up is Joe Riggert. He struck out twice and tapped to the catcher. 646 plus fatigue is 656. And Riggert again is going to hit it back to Adams on the mound. Babe scoops it up, jogs halfway to first, and underhands it to Sire for the first out of the ninth. And that'll bring up Tony Beckel. He's popped up on the infield twice and drew a walk. 603 plus fatigue is 613. And Beckel will sky that one up on the infield for the 3rd time this afternoon. This time it's in the general vicinity of George Cutshaw at second. He waits and makes the catch. And there are 2 away. And that leaves Boston's hope in the person of the 160 batting catcher Walt Trageser. And they are going to go to the bench for a pinch hitter. And Red Smith will come on to hit as Boston is down to its last out. Adams looks in for the sign, and the pitch is a 105. That's a 305. And Smith watches a 3rd strike sail across the outside corner for the final out of the game. And Boston comes up short here in Pittsburgh by a score of 6-3. Pittsburgh had 6 runs on 10 hits and no errors. And Boston had 3 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors. The winner is Babe Adams, his 8th win of the year, ties for the league lead. The loser is Ray Keating. For the Pirates, Bigby, Stengel, Southworth, and Barbari each had 2 hits, and Terry knocked in 2 runs. While for the Braves, Walton Cruz went 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. So the Pirates win at home. And that'll be it from Forbes Field for today. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will see you later.